bore you guys too much here. I remember when I was your age, I didn't really listen to people talk for too long. But I have a story that I think that's worth sharing. You guys are talking about hope this month, I guess. And I think my story resembles like what hope stands for. And what's inside of hope is people hope to stop suffering, people hope to get through hard times, people hope for success. And I think that's things we can all relate to in here, and that's why I named my sermon, You Have No Idea How Much Pain Runs Through My Veins. And I think you guys can all relate. I know there's probably a bunch of people in here that are going through stuff, parents getting divorced, stuff with incomes going hard, you name it, people have struggles. And I'm just going to share my story, and I just hope that you guys just learn something from it, and maybe it gives you guys some hope. So, let's get a little about my backstory. I went to Tri-Unity Christian, played basketball, baseball, and soccer there. When I graduated from Tri-Unity, I went to Grand Rapids Community College to play baseball, and I was there for 2 years. I got to play in 2 College World Series, and moved to Miami to pursue a pro baseball career. And while I was down there, I was pitching late in the game, and I threw a pitch, and I heard a huge pop in my back. And let alone I've never had a sore arm in my life, so I really didn't know what to take from the injury. And so when I came off the field, there was a numbing sensation and sharp pain going down my left leg. And the team doctor told me it wasn't looking like I was going to throw again for this team, and they sent me home. And little did I know how bad the injury was actually going to be. They sent me to a doctor that thought it was a hip strain, and put me through 3 months of grueling therapy without pain medication when truly I had 3 ruptured discs in my back. And the fragments went out and shattered against all the nerves running through my back and cut through the sciatic nerve, which is the most sensitive nerve in the body. And it gave me, I could sit here and try to explain what the pain felt like, but there's really no words for nerve pain. It's pretty much living in a hell for 24/7 inside your body. You can't escape it. And, after they did the MRI and saw the damage, they sent me to a surgeon who told me he could have me back on the baseball field in 8 weeks. And I believed him. And we went into surgery, and I came out, and I was feeling great. And they said, we don't want to move you for a couple days from your hospital bed, so they pretty much just sedated me for a couple days. And when they moved me and were trying to get me back to my house, we heard the first pop again. And they rushed me back into the ER and took another MRI, and the damage was redone. And they had no idea why it happened again. And the surgeon told me, we can't operate on you for a while, so we're just going to send you home. And this is when they started me on narcotics. They started me low, but I was on Percocet and Oxycontin 24/7. Realistically, I was high all the time, and we still couldn't escape the nerve pain that I was feeling. So they sent me home. I was on bed rest for about 2 months until they could operate on me again. And finally, the time came for me to go back in, and I came across a verse. It was John 13, verse 7, and it said, Jesus replied, "You do not realize what I am doing, but later you will understand." And at that point where I was, I didn't know why this was all happening. I had the perfect life going, I thought, and baseball was going incredible. I was working my way towards a pro career, and all my dreams were there, and it seemed like they were just going to be gone. And I went in for the second surgery, and I came out of it, and I was in the most pain I've ever been in my life, worse than I did when I first hurt myself. And the doctors brought me back in for another MRI, and it showed that the surgery was successful. But how I felt, it wasn't successful. But they said, there's nothing we can really do. We're just going to send you home until you start feeling better. We can get you inside of therapy, and hopefully we can get going from there and get you your health back. Well, that lasted for about 6 months. I was home. The only time I would leave my house is with pain meds in my pocket and a nice high from all my drugs I was taking. And eventually one morning I woke up and I was reaching for my pain meds over the top of my head. And usually at this point in the morning I would just start feeling just a little bit of pain. And if the pain level got too high, I would find myself in the ER. I was there probably 80 to 100 times in the last 2 years. And so I reached for my pain pills, and I wasn't feeling any pain. So I called my doctor. Well, I told my parents, I said, I don't feel any pain right now. And they called my doctors, and my doctor said, come in right now. Like, we got to start therapy ASAP because we got to capitalize, we got to get the core strong and the back strong so we can get you better. So I go in, and long story short, my therapy started progressing like crazy. And I tested out of normal therapy in a month, put in sports therapy for a month, and went to sports-related therapy where I was there for 2 weeks, and I was about 2 weeks away from getting cleared to throw. I could tell there was still something wrong with my back. There was just like a little something, but I was just ignoring it because I was starting to feel my normal self coming back. And they had me doing side-to-side shuffles with a Mediball. And I went to one side with it and heard the pop. And collapsed to the ground, rushed me back into the ER, and they found that my spine was slipping all along, 6 millimeters both ways. And the doctor looked at me and told me, you need to accept that you're never going to pick up a baseball again. And hearing that for the first time was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to hear in my life. Baseball is what I've worked for my entire life. It was my identity. You know, I didn't have my identity in God. And that's all I knew. Is like when someone said, who's Bryce? I'm a baseball player. That's all I wanted to tell people. And at this point, I was on about 14 pills of Oxycontin and Percocet a day. I was destroying my body. I was sick. They told me I needed a spinal fusion. So I don't know if any of you guys have heard what that is. I mean, it's a surgery usually meant for older people. They usually won't give it to people around my age. And we tried to decide. It was pretty much pick your poison. Get that surgery, which they take out the disc, put in an artificial disc, put in big rods in your back, and fuse it together. So it's pretty much mechanical. The lower back is pretty much all mechanical, fused off. Or you can try to live with it, and just because the complications from a fusion in some people's minds are much higher than going without the surgery. So we prayed and asked like God to show a sign like if we could go through the surgery. And I don't know if any, with a raised hand, does anyone know who Chris Sale is? Anybody? Okay, got a couple. Well, he's a pitcher for the Chicago White Sox. He's pitched in 2 or 3 All-Star games. Stud lefty, one of the best lefties in the game. A guy I've looked up to ever since he came into the league. Well, long story short, through the grapevine, you heard about my story and what was going on. And Chris sent me a baseball 2 days before my surgery, and it was on my doorstep, and I opened it, and it said, tough times don't last, but tough people do. Stay strong, Bryce, and he autographed it. And I thought that was my sign from God to move forward and to keep chasing, because I was getting to the point where I didn't know if God really wanted me to keep chasing or if that was just my will. And so we went ahead with the surgery, and I was in the hospital for about a week. Went home, and they put me in a back brace, so I went from here all the way down below my belt, and it was no fun. Higher pain meds. I was up to, the max dosage I got to was about 16 to 17 pills a day. Like at some points I was taking more than that just to try to escape the pain. The nerve pain just kept getting worse and worse. It didn't really matter what I did. After the 6 months, when I came out of the back brace, when I was supposed to be getting better, things just kept getting worse, still getting worse. And people just kept coming in and studying my case. Doctors would just, I'd go into the hospital for 4 hours a day, and doctors would just look over me from all over the area. And nobody had any idea what was going on with my body. And eventually it came to the point where the surgeon asked my family to come in, and whenever they asked my parents to come in, it was never good. And I just remember, sorry, this is the hard part. I just remember the doctor telling my parents and me that they had nothing left they could do for me. And that they should probably accept that this is what their son's going to look like for the rest of his life. Sorry. I don't know if any of you play Call of Duty, but when a flashbang goes off and everything's just slow and you can't hear anything with you, that's how I felt. I just went into a state of depression that, which I thought was fake for most of my adult life, whenever someone said they were depressed, I just blew it off and said, you know what, depression is not real. I was depressed. I was on suicide watch. I was addicted to my painkillers, which I didn't know at the time that I was. I just thought, you know what, the doctors had given to me, like, it's not a problem, right? And the surgeon told my parents, there's a program at Mary Free Bed, which is one of the top rehab hospitals in the country. They said this is going to be the only program that has a chance to save your son's life. And these doctors, when I went over there, I had no faith in them. Why have faith in these doctors that keep letting me down over and over? And I went in with a really bitter heart. And these doctors turned out to all be Christians, all shared their story with me. And they said there's a 2% chance you ever pick up a baseball again, but we're going to ride that 2% because we have faith God's going to heal you. And we went through the first 2 weeks, and I was in the hospital for 5 hours a day, just pretty much getting, in my words, tortured. You know, like they were doing everything they could to just figure things out, moving my body in different ways, which everything, I could walk on a treadmill for 2 minutes before I had to lay down. I could do this about 5 times before there was a chance I got hospitalized again. I could do nothing. And the doctors called me in after 2 weeks and said, we have to start taking away your painkillers because you're not going to get better if we don't get rid of these. And eventually these painkillers are going to kill you. So this is the point where I realized how addicted I actually was to the medication. They said we're going to take 1 pill away a week, 1 pill out of your 17-pill dose. And I'm just like, whatever, you know. I still got 16 other pills I can get high from. So they take the 1 pill away, and it turns out I start getting cold sweats. I start having night terrors. I start having tremors. I find myself snorting my pills. I find myself doing anything with those pills that will give me a bigger high that can last me longer. And I eventually went into my doctor and said, I told him the issue at hand. I said, there's no way that I'm going to get off these pills one at a time. I said, we got to go cold turkey. And my doctor said, are you sure you really want to do that? Do you know what comes with it? And I said, I do, and I'm ready to take them. And so he gave me stuff for my blood pressure, all sorts of meds to control my body and stabilize it as my body went through a complete detox. And the next 7 days I went through hell. I was having night terrors. I was having dreams that my back was snapping in half when I was pitching over and over. Every single night I had the same dream. I still have those dreams to this day. I was getting cold sweats. Just everything, every single thing you can imagine was happening in my body. I was trembling. I was sick. I was throwing up for 7 days. And I come out the other side and think, oh, like we made it. But realized after 7 days that your body doesn't make natural pain endorphins for about 2 weeks after you've been on narcotics that long. So I'm still in nerve pain, and I have no meds, and my body is helping me in no way. This is the lowest point in my life. I'm coming here to tell you that this was the lowest I've ever been. I was more suicidal, more depressed. I was angry. I tried trusting in God, but I just couldn't. Like, I could not give him everything. I didn't know what to do. I said, like, I'm doing everything. I'm battling every single day for you, and I just don't know what to do. People tried to help me. I wouldn't let them help me. If any of you have gone through depression, you realize when people try to help, you don't want it. And I just remember getting to the point where during those 2 week period, I was just in a prison cell, my own body. And I stored up pills that I hid from my doctors that I was going to use to kill myself. You know, suicide's something that's not easy to talk about, but not sure. I don't know if anyone here has gone through this, but I was ready to end it. And I said, I can't take this pain any longer. If there's not a God up there that's going to help me, then I'm leaving this earth. And I remember my parents went away for a day, and they said, are you going to be all right today? I said, yeah, I'm just going to watch some movies. I tried putting on a smile so they weren't suspicious. In my head, that was the last time I thought I was going to see my parents. And I didn't even say goodbye to them. So I headed down to the basement, and I pulled the pills out, and I was kneeling at my bed, And what you're supposed to do is what I saw is you take the pills, put them in your mouth, suck on them, it gives you a head high, you don't realize that you're swallowing them. 10 minutes later, you'll be dead. I remember putting pills in my mouth and getting that head high, and all I could see was suffering from my parents, my friends, people I loved, suffering for the rest of their lives because I opted out and I didn't trust in God. I was opting out of my cards. I played my cards and they were crap, and I said, I'm folding. And I remember in that state when I was seeing my family, and I saw myself back on the mound. I saw myself pitching. And I spit the pills out of my mouth. And in the midst of my head high, I started punching my bed. And it was the first time that I ever yelled at God. Every time I ever vocally tried to talk to him in this manner. I screamed out to him and I said, I can't fight anymore. I said, I have nothing left. I've given you everything for 2 years. I said, I've suffered every single night for 2 years. And all I want is your help. I'll give you baseball. I'll give you everything. I'll stop holding on to what I want. It's yours, and if you want to give it back to me, that's your call. But you have a calling for my life, and I'm not following it. And I said, you have to carry me. I don't have the strength anymore. If you don't carry me, this is over. And I remember, there's a verse, Isaiah 48:10. It says, see, I have refined you through not as silver, I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. And I think that can go for a lot of people in here. You know, you're tested daily, going through stuff like this. And I remember when I came outside the next day, I kid you not, I went into therapy the next day. Didn't tell anyone about what happened that prior night. And therapy all of a sudden started progressing my first day. There was just like a difference. I could feel it in my body. Thought in my head, you know what, I'm not gonna buy into it because I don't think maybe it's just me trying to be in a good mood for a day. One day turned into two turned into three, a week turned into 2 weeks, 2 weeks turned into 3 weeks, and my doctor started seeing a change that they'd never seen before. I opened up to my therapist, which was I was closed off to her on my narcotics. I could finally show emotion. I started releasing that emotion. They tried teaching me to not be afraid of my pain. They said, you can't be afraid, and I think there's a bunch of different pains in here. It doesn't have to be physical pain, emotional pain, everything. You can't be afraid of it. We kept going and going, and it got to the point where my doctors were in the office one day, and they're all crying. You know, doctors aren't supposed to get too connected to a patient because they see a ton of patients every single day. But something about what was going on made them emotionally invested, and they said, Bryce, we don't know how to tell you this, but we're going to let you start throwing. And this was a month after my attempted suicide. They said, we don't want you to get your hopes up, though. You know what? You're starting to get your life back. But we just want to give you that shot, that 2% chance. So I went, and it started with just like 10 throws from like 20 feet at like 10%. Just flicking the ball. The next day I couldn't walk. I would be bedridden, and I would just go to therapy and just act like everything was okay. And the backlash every single day just got lower and lower and lower. And still to this day, like when I'm weightlifting, whatever I do, it has to get backlash for a while, and it'll be gone. And all of a sudden I start throwing the baseball hard. I'm starting to get back to my old self, and eventually my doctor says, you know what, I'm not catching you anymore because I never played baseball and I don't feel safe catching you anymore. So he said, I'm going to release you to elite, which I'm sure if any of you guys play sports, elite baseball and softball training is where I played since I was 6 years old. And they released me there, and they have a program called CST that I still do to this day 4 times a week now. And it's 2 straight hours of, they're just kicking your butt. Strength, conditioning, explosiveness, you name it. You're just getting your butt kicked for 2 hours. And my first day in there, I just walked in and I was just planning on throwing, just doing a little toss. And my coach, who was my coach since 6th grade, looks at me, sees me sitting there, and he knew everything that I went through. And he looks at me and said, what are you doing over there? I said, I'm just watching, coach. And he says, how long are you going to be afraid of that injury and let it control your life? And seeing what I've been through, I was a little bit hesitant to buy into his word, and I was like, you know what, things have just started to get better, I don't know if I want to do that. And he said, come out here and stop being afraid of your injury. And I went out and I made it through a 2-hour class, drenched in sweat, exhausted, walked off the field, realized what I just did. No pain. A month prior, that would have put me in the hospital. I started doing it 3-4 times a week, and I was training my butt off, throwing harder, getting back to my old self. And I get a phone call from a team in California, Reading 45s. And this guy wanted me to play in this prospect league when I chose to play in Miami. But he's my Facebook friend, which he was a phantom Facebook friend because I never knew he was there. And he followed my story for 2 years, and he saw a video of me pitching, and he said, our organization talked, and we want to be the team that gives you the chance to pitch again. And they asked me, could you be 70% in a month? In my head I said, absolutely not. But I told them, yeah, coach. And so I was a month away from going to California, kept training. We get that plane ticket, and I fly out there, and I'm wondering, God, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I coming out here too soon? And it was all answered when I landed in Sacramento. Where I was greeted by one of the nicest, I don't even know what you want to call them, car drivers. He had a van. That sounds even creepier. He was a shuttle driver that was supposed to bring me back to Reading with like about 8 other people from anglers around. And I was the first one there. We had 20 minutes until the next flight showed up. And he said, Bryce, on my piece of paper here it says you're a baseball player. Tell me about yourself. And I said, well, I haven't played baseball in 2 years, but I got a little other story I can tell you. Shared with him a little bit about what I was going through. Talking about the pain med problem, my faith in God, the back surgeries, yada yada. When I get done, this guy looks at me like with this all look in his face. I'm just wondering what the heck he's thinking about. And he shows me a scar that said that he just had fusion about a year prior. And very similar surgeries to what I had. He had strong faith in God, still struggled with pain med addiction, and was hugely involved in the church of Bethel in California, in Reading, which is a massive church that probably one of the most powerful churches I've ever been to in my life when I was out there. And so we're just talking, and all of a sudden all these other people, a bunch of random people get on the shuttle, head out, and the radio's not working, and it's quiet. No one's saying nothing. And he goes, Bryce, the radio's not working. How about you share your entire story? So I look around and I just see a bunch of random people looking at me, and I'm like, I don't know if these people want to hear me talk for an hour. But they all gave like the awkward nod, like, yeah, sure, we'll hear your story. So I went. Got really into it, and at the end, all of a sudden I finished, and I hear a bunch of people sniffling. I look around, and everyone starts opening up. Some lady lifts her shirt to here, has the same back brace that I had on. Had a fusion surgery. Another lady just survived cervical cancer, and another lady just survived breast cancer. And they all shared their stories. And we all opened up. Everyone was crying. It was an emotional roller coaster in there. And we get off the shuttle. We all hug, all take pictures together, and that's when I knew I was supposed to be there. And I got my first chance to go out and pitch after 2 years. And I don't know if any of you guys know who Kid Ink is. The song Hell and Back was the song that got me through everything for 2 years. And I got to come out to that song, and I got to pitch in my first game in 2 years. And over the loudspeaker, they said, what you're seeing here tonight is a miracle because doctors told Bryce he was never going to pick up a baseball again. And I went out there and went just how I did in my dreams. Every single night, when I was injured for the last 2 years, I threw a baseball up in the air with my glove and said, I'm going to get to that mound again. I don't care what anybody says. So I'm going to trust in God, and He's going to get me there. And that song, when I ran out here in Hell and Back, we got to the second out, and it was just how I envisioned the guy on third base. We're in a big situation here. They put me in a big situation. I told them I don't want to go in some baby situation where it doesn't mean nothing. Put me in a big spot. It's the ninth inning. I go in, there's a guy in third, and I strike this guy out. And when I released that pitch, my pain, my suffering, my depression, my suicide was all left out there. And it was all thanks to God. And to this day now, I'm training here. I moved back out to California in a month to keep playing, and I signed with a prospect league team in the Marysville Gold Sox, which I think is going to lead my pro career to start again. But this time it's so much better. It's God that's bringing you there. Before it was me. I just want to end by saying just one thing. I know I'm running short on time, but I just want to give you guys a little perspective. This is something that you guys can take away. If you guys all just want to close your eyes. It says, imagine if you were blind. Complete darkness. No colors, no views, no beauty, just pitch black. If you were blind, ask yourself how badly you would want to see. If pushing yourself to your limits could give you sight, would you do it? If there was a cure, would you let anything stand in your way? Would you listen to the haters and the critics to see again? Do you really want to succeed? Would you really care if they mocked you, laughed at you, pointed at you, or badmouthed you? Would you be concerned about your extreme goal, or just embrace extreme work? What if you had to learn hurt, trust pain, and embrace struggle? Would you still be concerned with being realistic? Would you still figure your odds and calculate your chances? If you had to spend more time planning how you're going to get out of suffering and less time planning your weekends, would it even be a tough choice? If the cure for blindness was humility and pain, would you go for it? If the cure for blindness was looking foolish, would you risk it? If seeing again took a fight, would you start swinging? If the cure was doing things you can't do, would you attempt them? If a few extra hours, a few more drops of sweat, a little bit more work was all it took, would you claim your sight? Do you really want to succeed? Then choose to be blind and do whatever it takes to see, because if you don't, then you're just blind anyways. You guys can open your eyes. Too many times we curse the rain in our lives. This is something that I took out a book that I was reading that really got me through some tough times, and it's the last thing I'm going to say. Too many times we curse the rain in our lives. Suffering, trials, hardships. But the truth is, without rain, nothing grows.
Right.
Without rain, there's no fruit, just dry, flaky, and nasty leaves. Sometimes suffering is actually God's blessing rather than God's curse. It is clear in Scripture that He is not the source of evil, nor did He cause it, but He promises He can use it. So whatever any of you are going through, God's there. Don't think it's Him trying to hurt you. Just use it. Use that pain. Bring your demons close. Use what the devil's trying to go against you and make it stand right by you. That's what I use with my pain. Everything stands right next to me. Whatever attack from the devil. So I just challenge you guys to keep fighting. Do whatever it takes to get to those goals. Have hope. Hope is going to get you through. Hope that God is going to get you through. That's